Millionaires have read it. How did you make your money? Working hard and saving every dollar? Did you start your own company? What's your story? We won the lottery, yes, for real. I guess we're low-tier millionaires. We paid off all of our bills, bought a house, invested the rest. He works. I will go back to work after our daughter is a year or two old. I coupon like crazy and save/reuse everything I can, live extremely frugally, and never tell anyone IRL about the lottery. Worked hard for someone else and saved every dollar. But not for long. I started spending what I had saved, and learned that it's hard to shut off the money hose once it's on. Kept spending until it was gone. Went broke. Started my own company and lived, and still live, frugally and as if I didn't have much money. That was my way there and back again. Can you live on $30,000? Then make as much as possible, but treat it like it's $30,000 and stash the rest. There are several millionaires in my family, although you'd never know just by looking. These are the sort of people who drive the same 30-year-old van until they replace it with one that's only 10 years old. The sort of people who live in tiny townhouses worth less than they make in a year. I never even had any idea until well into my college years, partially because it was well hidden and partially because my prideful mother wouldn't accept any help while she raised my sister and I on food stamps and the like. Even now I only have estimates as to their worths. Every one of them started their own business, lived below their means, invested cautiously but well, and found ways to make money off of other people's time. My grandfather in particular was a landlord from the time he was 20 while working in a steel mill. He and his brothers all pooled their money to buy a large office building in downtown Chicago. That man could fill a book with his path to wealth, so I've been thankful to have him as a resource all these years, even if I had no idea until recently just how well off he is. The businesses he's owned, the opportunities he's both taken and missed, the investment ups and downs, it's a bit too much for a Reddit post, to be honest. But I bet if he could sum it up he'd put it quite simply as, be frugal and let your money work for you. My father got a bachelor's degree from a state university, then worked his ass off. I've yet to see a work ethic or integrity rival to his in my entire life. He climbed the corporate ladder at the same company for 15 years, then his company was acquired by a larger company, and he got a pretty sweet deal. Instead of retiring, he decided to keep climbing, but with a bigger ladder this time. House, cars, boat paid off, and he's currently putting my sister and I through school 100%. I don't know how much he actually made from the acquisition, but I can tell you he earned it. Got an education in a profession with employment potential, medicine, worked mostly for the government, lived way below my means, read personal finance books since age 30, saved and invested in the stock market, mostly index funds, retired after reaching age and length of service requirements for my government job, have a modest pension, and a nice portfolio in the range queried by OP. And in retirement, I'm still living way below my means. It gets to be a habit, and you can be quite happy if you own your home and have sufficient funds to feed yourself and your dependents and pay all the utilities and have a local library for reading pleasure and an internet connection. Is there more to life? IDK. My wife has told me I'm cheap and stingy, but gosh, I'm happy and we have all anybody could reasonably want or need. And now as an older retired duffer, I can spend all my days playing with Emacs and Python and posting the occasional Reddit missive. TLDR, spend less than you earn, invest sensibly. Don't be greedy. My father made his money by starting a biotech company in the 80s. We live a very simple life. We have a farm, grow fruits and vegetables in our garden. We drive simple yet fuel-efficient vehicle. Whenever I asked him how much money he made a year, his answer would always be, it's not how much you make, son, it's how much you keep. I'm not a millionaire yet, but I got this email from a Nigerian prince and it said that I inherited like $1 billion. I just sent him all my banking information so that he can transfer the money. Update soon. Degree in computer science. Get good employment in computer science. While single, live modestly and save a lot of income. Save more money, invest in okay things. Bought a house. Own a house while property values tripled. Save more money. If I could do it again, I probably would have spent 2 or 3 years after graduation just putting my personal life on hold. Live in a closet, work long hours as a consultant, getting paid by the hour. Then start a normal, modest life with a budget. Let the savings grow. I could have retired before 40 if I had done that. I'm 32. I've been in the military since I was 18. I've had numerous deployments with tax-free income. I've invested wisely, luckily. I married a girl who likes working. I take advantage of free education provided by the military. I've lived well below my means my whole life. The only splurging we've ever done is travel. We're low-tier millionaire, just over 1M. Work and save hard. We buy what we need, not what we want. Moderate lifestyle. The only things we spend out of typical is education for ourselves and our kids. Started business but failed miserably. Continue to start and run various businesses. We have professional degrees and work in the corporate world for some time. Went through 2 real estate downturns, made some bets. Got lucky in both bubbles. Worked hard, paid fairly well but not lavishly, waited to have kids until we were older, straightforward index fund investing. Inherited some, which helped, but we'd be millionaires without it. Allowed me to quit my job to stay home with the kids. But the biggest reason is that we live way below our means. Probably no one who knows us realizes we are, except maybe in our family. But we don't even talk about it with them, so they'd just be guessing. People say, if I were a millionaire, I'd buy X, Y, and Z. But what they don't realize is that many millionaires got there largely because they were frugal, and it's really hard to turn that off even when you don't need to be frugal. I catch myself doing it every day. Damn it, these strawberries were $3 last week and now they're $4. I'm not buying that. Besides, it's possible to rationalize the frugality even still, earlier retirement and more to leave for the kids. I don't know if you will all count this, but I inherited my family farm, appraised value of $3 million. It's interesting to own because it does not make any money and I can't sell it because it's been in my family for over 100 years. I try to think of ways to make it profitable, but I'm a sysadmin, not a farmer. If you read The Millionaire Next Door, you'll pretty much discover how, be frugal, save, don't live above your means. In fact, you should live well below your means. At age 38, I'm barely a millionaire, meaning I have a net worth of a little over $1 million, around 1.25 at last count. My house is around 200K of that. I have 0 debt, mortgage and loans all paid off. I never had my own company, but I did do a lot of side work in the past, which supplemented my income. I live on less than half of my income basically. My dad also follows the Millionaire Next Door model. He lives way below his means and has his own successful business, which he grew from nothing. He is actually a real multimillionaire, but you'd never know. Went to college and then took over family business, learned it from the ground up from my high school days, and worked there throughout college. Initially, the business wasn't doing too well, less than $1 million in sales only. Now we do over $40 million in sales, 6 years later. I'm 29 with a net worth above $2 million in assets, not including my company. I've now started another business of franchising so I can retire in about 10 years and have good income coming in rather automatically down the line. I'm married. I do spend rather freely, but I also save like crazy. I constantly work almost 18 hours a day, but I love what I do when it shows. My employees wonder when I sleep as I email at all times of the day/night. I recently purchased $1 million house and paid 25% up front. I have life insurance that is invested in the market. Life insurance is to protect my money from lawsuits. Security of money is very important to me, too many outside threats in my view. I also invest in the market, but I have divested out of the market slowly over the past year and will be investing more in my franchise business as I want to have 20 plus locations prior to retiring. My father would be a millionaire if he didn't give so much away and hadn't paid for private college for 3 children out of pocket. He became partner at a law firm in a medium-sized city. We didn't live like paupers, probably the lifestyle of the typical $100,000 earning family, though he made considerably more than $100,000. He paid off his debts, didn't take out new debts, and didn't buy flashy cars or clothing or toys. We vacationed, but nothing extravagant, except 2 trips. Do what you can to increase your means and do what you can to live below them. Then you're good. Early 30s. I hair above $1 million. Took a legal-related job a decade ago, have made on average $100,000 a year since, thanks mostly to performance bonuses and equity. I own a small part of the company, but I didn't help start it. I live on roughly 20% of my income a year, for the most part. I max out my 401k contribution, max out my Roth IRA contribution, when I could, anyway, max out HSA contributions. After I bought my house, I dumped my excess savings into individual brokerage accounts that I sunk into large cap domestic equities and was lucky enough to ride the mother of all rallies after getting my head handed to me in 08 to 09. I carry 0 consumer debt. I pay my credit card balances in full each month. The beat-up Tacoma pickup I drove for over 15 years finally croaked, so I bought a new Toyota Camry several months ago for $19,000-ish after incentives. I dress alright, nothing flashy. Eating out more than I should is my only real splurge. Living far below my means is irrelevant to me. Means is a silly standard to judge quality of life, I think. It's more looking for long-term value in the purchases I make. If the value is strong, I am not cheap and will spend to get it. Other than my sister and my accountant, no one knows of my fortune. No girlfriends, certainly not my Asian parents. Nothing about my demeanor or lifestyle says millionaire. Quite the contrary. The only reason my sister and accountant know are because I want my assets correctly distributed if I were to suddenly drop dead. My life would be much more complicated if I advertised my modest worth. I find myself at an existential crossroads now that I've crossed that arbitrary millionaire benchmark. I don't feel rich and the hunger to keep working for more is still there. But I find myself dreaming of retiring soon more and more. We'll see. There are a lot more millionaires all around us that simply don't flaunt the fact they are millionaires. They don't drive fancy cars, have a fancy house, wear fancy clothes, etc. They are often very frugal people. My wife used to work at a furniture store, and it wasn't uncommon for someone to come in who visually didn't appear to have much money. They were often not assisted because the workers assumed they would be super cheap. Turns out, several of them were actually millionaires and were willing to drop like $15,000 that day on stuff. Thanks for watching and being on the road to Reddit Millionaire with us. So, how did you make your money, or what are your plans to become millionaire? Let us know. Until next one.